Good morning. Welcome to the Celtic Way Morning Briefing Live. It's Monday, December the 12th. Countdown to Christmas is on. I'm Tony Haggerty, Haggerty10 Twitter handle. You know that. And I'm joined today by Aidan Macdonald at Aidan C. Macdonald. Now, Aidan, the kitchen's still getting put in. So today's the big day where some units get put in. You might hear a bit of banging, but hopefully not. We'll endeavour to try and see if we can get through this without too much noise. How are you, Aidan? You good?
Yeah, I'm good, Tony. How are you? Obviously, with the exception of the banging in your kitchen.
Upheaval apart, all good, yes, indeed. Now, we'll get to Celtic in a minute, but I'll just direct your attention to the ticker tape running along the bottom, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I'm going to say. Subscribe to the Celtic Way and support top quality journalism covering the club you love. And we've got an offer and a deal. We've always got an offer and a deal, and it's the festive one. And there it is. You can get 25% off the yearly subscription rate. That takes it down to £26, or you can enjoy £1. It's £1 for 2 months of free access to everything that we write on the site. No, it's not £1. It's £1 for 2 months of access, isn't it? Even not free access, because then it would be free, wouldn't it? So it's £1 for 2 months of full access. 2 months of full access to everything that we write on the website. Been a long weekend. I'm missing my football, but there you have it. And all you have to do is hit the button, www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. That's www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. Some really good stuff on there, Aidan, over the weekend as well, wasn't there?
Yep, obviously, Tony, we had your Celtic v Nottingham Forest sort of reflection piece up, which was very good. We also had a Stuart Ross tactics piece up on Rio Hatate.
Yeah, that was excellent.
Sort of how he's been getting on this season. And as we always mention with these deals, whether tactics is your bag or you prefer features and interviews, there's content that will cover everything. So, yep, there's a diverse sort of coverage of Celtic from all angles. So get yourself involved if you're not already subscribed.
Indeed, couldn't have said it any better myself. Listen to the young man, ladies and gentlemen. Wise head on young shoulders there, unlike his old dad here. But hey, that's another story. Now, speaking of stories, Aidan, Rennes 4, Celtic 3, Rennes 4, whatever way you want to say it, on Saturday morning, early kickoff. I think lots of people tried to tune in, but couldn't see it. Some people did see it, kind of updates. Twitter was going mental with updates and stuff, but I tell you what, might have conceded for Aidan, but I did see Matt O'Reilly doing what he did best, scoring 2 crackers and Kyogo scoring a beauty, so I'll take the positives first, I like that.
Yeah, Celtic's 3 goals from the sort of YouTube package that the club put up later on were sensational. Some of the finishes were of really, really high quality. I mean, if one of them scored in a league game, you're raving about it for weeks, and it's probably even if not a goal of the season contender, a goal of the month contender anyway. So, yeah, really clinical finishes, and it's a good run out, isn't it?
Yeah.
For the players to get in their legs, obviously, after a couple of weeks or so since the Sydney Super Cup. And yeah, it was positives to take. Obviously, the result, you can't really look too much into it. And the manager basically said that after in his post-match comments, just made clear it was good for the players to get some minutes in their legs, and that's important, building ahead to, as I'm sure we'll discuss over this week, obviously the Aberdeen game coming on Saturday.
Yep, Callum McGregor getting minutes, Carol Starfelt getting minutes, Aidan as well. So all sorts of positive reviews say people were comparing Kyogo's goal to the one he scored in the cup final, enthusing about that, enthusing about Matt O'Reilly being further forward. Yeah, I think there was enough to be happy about, wasn't there?
Yeah, I think McGregor getting more minutes on the field, his first minutes on the field, I should say, for a while, is a real positive, regardless of whether or not it's a friendly. Probably, even if he doesn't start against Aberdeen, but given that he was on from the beginning in that friendly, there probably is a high chance he will start against Aberdeen. But even if he doesn't, you'd imagine that he'll get some more minutes to build his way back. The same happened against Livingston, with hopefully at the latest he's starting against St Johnstone, so that ahead of away to Easter Road and at Ibrox, McGregor's had plenty of minutes under his belt and he's back to being a regular starter. So it's all positive. Starfelt as well getting minutes, because people forget he's had periods out this season. So getting more minutes under his belt again is a real positive. But no, it's all looking good at the moment, Tony.
And also as well, Kobayashi joined the squad as well, didn't he? And I think just to get him assimilated and just let him meet his teammates and stuff, and get him in early. So that was a good move as well, wasn't it? To get him over there and just let him meet his new teammates and stuff before January, basically.
Of course, I mean, I'd imagine sort of as soon as you acclimatise, the better. Obviously, the training wasn't at Lennoxtown; it was abroad, but it can only be a positive that he's in and around the team. We know he's not able to be available for selection until January 1st, just to do with sort of registration, etc. But the fact that he's in around, I'm sure there's bounce games that go on all the time at Lennoxtown we don't know anything about. So I'm sure he'll have had minutes on the field, even if it's in a sort of training capacity, before he finally makes his appearance, whenever that will be. So, yeah, it's good to get him involved. And I think Ange mentioned as well in his post-match interview that Alistair Johnson will be joining the proceedings. I think he said either this week, so it's the week we're in now, starting on next week. I can't remember exactly, but so that's another one that's obviously going to be coming in and acclimatising, because I think he's got to wait till the new year before he'll be available for selection now. So, yeah, it's hopefully the two new signs are getting in, getting comfortable, getting to know their teammates, etc. So when it comes to them being asked to come onto the pitch, they're ready to go.
And I'm sure Kobayashi, if he doesn't know now, if he didn't know before, he knows now. Scotland's freezing.
Aye, I mean today Tony's a bit of a shocker, isn't it? Obviously, in terms of how cold it is. I'm feeling it today, but yeah, I'm sure he's well aware now.
Yes, indeed. I've got the double jumper on, as you can see, but there you have it. But no, I was just, as you say, the package that Celtic put together, I was really delighted with the goals and stuff, and I know they conceded 4, but the result wasn't important. It was about getting guys on the field again, wasn't it? Just getting their legs stretching minutes into the likes of McGregor and Starfelt, and so that was, from that point of view, it's been a worthwhile exercise, Aidan.
Yeah, I think it was all about minutes. So that was very much more like a sort of pre-season friendly, if you want to call it that, or mid-season, pre-season, is obviously the term had been coined. The games in Australia were probably a wee bit more competitive in terms of we wanted to see a better performance, a result, etc. But in terms of this sort of individual match, it was just about players getting fitness, which is exactly what McGregor, Starfelt, and all the guys after a couple of weeks off did. So yeah, no complaints from me, Tony, in terms of that game.
Aidan, one man who's missing from the fold is Josip Juranovic. Your tip to go as far as you can in the World Cup, and he's got all the way to the semi-final, and he had a wonderful match against Brazil. Now everybody's saying his value has skyrocketed. I believe Chris Sutton, former Celtic striker, has said that start the bidding at 25 million, all sorts of phrases like that, all sorts of figures being bandied about. Now, obviously, you're biased because you like Juranovic and you tipped him to go as far as any other Celtic player. Do you think his value is now commensurate with the figures that are being thrown about, or like everything else, he's only going to be worth what somebody is willing to pay? I guess that's true with everybody, but what would you be looking for in terms of Juranovic now? Or?
So I think in terms of Juranovic's values, undoubtedly went up after his World Cup campaign as a whole, but in particular that Brazil game, given sort of the profile of it, the quality of player he was up against, the fact that he was probably undisputably the man of the match. There's no bias there from our point of view. Is obviously people that are covering Celtic, the BBC pundits were saying that themselves. They were raving about Juranovic during the match. Yep. Yeah, I particularly enjoyed it when Alex Scott was talking about and Jurgen Klinsmann were both saying it looks very comfortable coming into the middle of the park and taking the ball. I was hitting the inverted fullback rules playing off there, Tony.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, go figure, eh? If you'd have been watching Celtic at all, you'd realise that's the role that he plays, so not a problem.
Basically, as like an extra midfielder, an extra central midfielder, I should say. In terms of his value, look, I'd love for Celtic to be able to get, if you want to call it, Kieran Tierney level money of 25 million plus for Juranovic, and I think they'll definitely, if he's to go in January, get more now than the sort of originally muted 10 to 12 million. I feel they'll probably get more, but will you get that fee? I don't know. If he was to go again and they were to beat Argentina, then, and he's playing in a final, probably regardless of how he performs, if he's playing in a World Cup final, that would then add a whole new level of value. I wouldn't even want to speculate what the figures would be. I don't think it's out of the realms of possibility that right now Celtic could get to 25 million.
Right,
Really, because
okay.
he has, but it does just depend. January, as much as he's played well at the World Cup, what it's like with clubs sort of coming in the lower bids for players in Scotland. We know
Yeah.
it's unfair, but it doesn't mean clubs aren't still going to try and lowball you. But fingers crossed that they can get an inflated fee of him. But I would love for him to stay, as I obviously mentioned in my article near the end of last week. I would really like Juranovic would be able to stay even until the summer, just to give Johnston a bit of time to bed in, similar to as we discussed the Matt Morelli, Tom Roderick situation. Whether or not after his performance like that, that's now out of the realms of possibility. They're not going to be able to keep him now. We'll just need to wait and see. But I think I'd probably struggle to get an exact number of a fee, Tony. But what I will say is it's definitely, I'd expect, inflated than what he would have got before the tournament.
Yeah, Kevin Ferrier comes in and says 25 million up and easy. That's lots of people are kind of saying that, aren't they? The 25 million type of thing, between 20 and 25 million. Kaiser, bit speculative, I think, Kaiser, but we just don't sell him for under 30 million, in my opinion. I think that's maybe speculative. I always add the caveat, and you added it there, that they're still playing in Scotland, aren't they? But I think if he becomes a World Cup finalist, then you're perfectly entitled to not be lowballed, as you say, and hold out for as much as you can, assuming that he leaves. It's all on the assumption that he's going to leave, isn't it, Aidan?
Yeah, I mean, I would much rather, given his contract status as well, I'd be quite happy if Celtic could try and keep Juranovic. I understand it's the whole thing about you want to be selling players at the peak of their powers, and even if he goes on to have a sensational sort of 6 months for Celtic, the World Cup and all the eyes that he's had on him, this could probably be the peak of his powers in terms of selling him. But I would really like if they could try and keep him, because I just think he's such an important player to the way and wants to play when he's on his top form. And I'm not going to doubt, and I know you've mentioned this season, Tony, that performances domestically and in Europe for Celtic haven't been great. Like these World Cup performances have by far been the best he's played in this sort of, campaign. But yeah, we just need to wait and see. But it's definitely going to be interesting, I think, anyway,
Well,
based off how well he's done at the World Cup.
In football parlance, he's timed his run perfectly, hasn't he, for a transfer? The mediocre performances he saved, yes, he saved for Europe and Celtic domestically, goes to the World Cup with Croatia and plays an absolute blinder. So there you go. And the chips will fall where they may with Juranovic, and I wish him every success, regardless of what happens, whether he stays or whether he goes. You now want to see him get to the final, don't you? I mean, it's you are cheering him on now because he has it. He was outstanding against Brazil.
It would go against my Messi prediction.
Yes, of course. I think there's a heart and head ruling here, Aidan, isn't it? Because I think a lot of people love to see Messi finally lift the World Cup and bow out on the final stage. But yeah, I mean, I was really impressed with Juranovic against Brazil. I have to say, I mentioned a couple of times during the season that I thought he'd underperformed for a player of his talent, but he has gone to the World Cup and shown that he belongs in that kind of company. And I think Celtic hold all the aces, don't they? Hold all the cards, because they've got him in a terrific contract situation, and somebody will have to stump up big money. What that figure is, nobody can tell. It's all speculation and conjecture, but Celtic will get what they get for him, won't they?
Yeah, they will, and obviously it is all relative to where he's playing and that, etc. I think in terms of Juranovic, he has said himself, he's batted that away, and I think he even did it post-match and after the Brazil game. Looking at some of the comments, because I had a few news hits on it, he kind of batted away interest himself. He wasn't wanting to discuss it, all that. So we just have to wait and see. But this is probably, I never wanted Celtic to be selling their best players, or sound like sorry that I'm trying to, to sell their players, given that he's contractual status and that. But given how well he's performed at the World Cup, he's going into a semi-final. If you're looking at sort of peak times to potentially sell him, it probably is January, which goes against, to be fair, my article, Tony. But that was before the game against Brazil, I would say. So
sure, of course. Now, another player making the news over the weekend is Giakoumakis. He doesn't seem to stop making the news, Aidan. Now, I'd written an article, couldn't have timed it any better, saying I thought he would stay, and the easy solution was to get everybody around the table because he's happy, and get thrash out an amicable solution. And if there was promises made verbally, then that's not right. You should always get stuff in writing, but without breaking the bank, give him something commensurate to what he wants, and then everybody's happy. But then it emerges over the weekend that he's changed his agent, and when players do that, I'm never a lover of that, Aidan, because obviously something's gone wrong with the agent before, or maybe not gotten what he wants and stuff like that. So, and it was the first sign of possible agitation in Giakoumakis. But again, the manager said he watches him training and he's been very, very happy with his attitude. And he leaves these discussions to the likes of agents and the club. So I'm still hopeful that a friendly solution can be found here, Aidan. Failing that, if the player wants to leave, then I don't think Ange will stand in his way, will he? But figures of 6 and 7 million, I was a bit baffled by that as well.
Yeah, I mean, all I can think is some of that's linked to Giakoumakis' age potentially, but I don't agree with that. He's been an important player for Celtic, a vital player, even though in that second half of last season with Kyogo out, he scored whatever it was, 17 goals in total across season, but 16, I think, in that sort of January to May window. He's not someone that I'd be wanting to get rid of with at least getting a bit of a substantial fee for him and then having an instant sort of backup plan in, which I'm sure Ange has probably got a plan in mind for pretty much every position. If somebody's to leave, whether or not you can then get that person is another discussion. But the fee, the sort of rumoured fee was a bit surprising. Obviously, him changing agent, that's been the sort of first confirmed public display of maybe something being a wee bit awry. Not even necessarily the club there. We don't know if that's just a personal thing with Giakoumakis and his agent. That's just something that maybe could have came out even if there was not any sort of links away from the club. But obviously there's been some sort of dispute or falling out there. Given that obviously Giakoumakis' agent, he did get him the move to Celtic originally, so he must have done something right at one point, given that he'd been relegated into the Dutch second division, but the team he was at had just been relegated into the Dutch second division. But it's just another one, I guess. We'll just need to wait and see, Tony. I would be hoping for more than the sort of 5 to 6 million if he was to leave in this window, because he signed a 5-year deal, didn't he? So, was he a 4-year deal? I can't remember. But regardless, he'll either have 3.5 or 2.5 years left on it, which was still loads of time. So, if we're to sell him in January, which I hope we don't, but if we were, I'd be hoping for a wee bit more than that in terms of the final fee.
Chill Paul comes in and says he prefers George's Giakoumakis to Kyogo. There you go. That's personal preference, isn't it? But no, I do like Giakoumakis. I've got to be honest. I think he offers Celtic something a bit different to Kyogo up front, and I think he's pretty potent in the box, as his stats prove. But people say it might make perfect business sense to let him go now, but as long as they've got a replacement lined up. But like you, I'd be loath to see them go now. There's a domestic treble up for grabs, Aidan, and I think Georges Giakoumakis can still play a vital part and role in helping Celtic land a domestic clean sweep. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm sure he'd have a really vital role to play. I mean, there's so many games, even with Celtic not being in Europe, you're still across, at the moment, enemy-free competitions. So Kyogo's obviously a brilliant player, but he's not going to be able to play every minute of every single game. So you need a second choice there. And Giakoumakis is, in my opinion, he is the sort of second choice striker at the club, but he's still got an important role to play. And his goal record speaks for itself. I know there's been a few things recently about his penalty taking ability, but outside of that, he's been a really solid addition. I think, given that what you paid for him and that, for somebody who was probably, when he was brought in, he was very much bought as a second choice option. He had to basically become the first choice option last year, and he was more than willing to step up to that role. So obviously he scored in the Champions League as well this season. I know it was only once, but that shows that he's got that pedigree. And we go back to it, Tony. Me, you, and Sean have mentioned it all plenty of times since the AGM happened. But Ange had spoken about how fans need to be prepared to potentially sell your kind of fan favourite players for the squad to develop, and we don't. That could sort of come at an unexpected time. So maybe in the case of Juranovic and Giakoumakis, that could be a factor that comes into play in January. We'll just need to wait and see. But I'm like you, if you're selling somebody, you need to have an immediate replacement. And I'm sure Postecoglou and the recruitment team do, because so far they've been very much, with the exception of the odd player here and here. Obviously, you did the article on Haggerty. The recruitment's been really, really good since Ange came in. So I'd like to think that if Giakoumakis, if there's sort of links away from the club, that they already maybe had a potential replacement, and that somebody they could move on. And we've seen them linked with Cho and players, etc. So I'm sure they would have somebody they could basically come straight in. But you always want to keep some of your better players, don't you, Tony?
Yep. Of course. I mean, Gary McDowell comes in and says George Giakoumakis brings a different threat to the team which Celtic need. Joe Powell, keep Georges Giakoumakis, exclamation mark. So he's, yep. And, you know, Will McMillan says Georges Giakoumakis is decent, but going forward you have to upgrade the strikers to move up a grade in Europe. Could be merit in that. And David Ferguson comes in to says about Michael Ross, no one apart from the parties involved has the slightest clue what's going on. It's a point I've made before that the people that will decide this ultimately, Aidan, are Georges Giakoumakis, his representatives, Michael Nicholson and Ange Postecoglou. You know, those are the people that have to get round the table and thrash out either an amicable solution or say, okay, we're willing to listen to offers. And until such times when those kind of statements are made, then you can speculate all you want, can't you?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're obviously not privy to what's going on inside the club, so we have
Not yet.
Not yet. But so we can only sort of speculate at the moment in terms of what's happening with Giakoumakis, Juranovic, etc. Probably the Giakoumakis thing, there is clear some sort of upheaval where that's nothing to do with the club and it's just him personally. The fact that he's changed agent, whereas Juranovic has just been sort of links away from the club. But in terms of him personally, he's not really changed his stance. Whereas with Giakoumakis, the fact that he has changed agent, there's obviously something going on there. Whether or not it's just he wasn't getting on with the person that was sort of representing him before, we don't know. But yeah, like I say, Tony, I don't want to repeat myself too much, right? We'll just have to wait and see. But I do agree with a few of the comments here saying that there's got to be a sort of immediate player, because there's not a winter break now. Obviously, there has been a sort of winter break. There's not a break in January when the window first opens. So if you're selling Giakoumakis, you need somebody coming in straight away, because you don't want to be down a player during a crucial period. So you could probably bring in a player that's maybe technically better than Giakoumakis in terms of his build-up play, but it's replacing the goals, isn't it? That's the issue.
Now, you flagged up to me just before we came on here that Bristol Live had written a line in one of their online sites, and it's a kind of long-standing kind of rumour about Bristol City attacker Antoine Semenyo, Ghanaian. Now, for those of you who don't know, I've got history with Antoine Semenyo. He scored a 98th minute winner for Newport County against Stevenage and won me 12.5 grand, which I ended up getting married in the Scottish Castle. And I've written about that on the site. I'll dig it out again. But that apart, I'd like to see him come to Celtic. But he's been tracked a long time, Aidan, by Celtic. Also, Bristol Live says Rangers want him too, and now Fenerbahce are kind of joined in. And I know when he did that for Newport, Manchester United and Chelsea were also keeping tabs on him. So this is a guy who's had all sorts of people watching him. And as I say, it's been a long-standing rumour with Celtic and Antoine. So another one of those, we'll see what happens. But he's certainly somebody who's attracting attention by the looks of it.
The Tony Haggerty scouting report.
Yes, indeed.
He looks an interesting player. Obviously, the sort of before this link, the most I kind of knew about him was from your personal experience with him, Tony. But it could be somebody that's another option for Celtic, and he looks like he could do the job in terms of what he would bring. So yeah, there's been a links with a few players, hasn't there? Really, outside obviously the two that have now officially signed. So it's clear that what the manager was saying in terms of the January business basically being finished, with the exception of something sort of extraordinary was to appear, similar to Matt O'Reilly in the summer. Sorry, last January, I should say. This must be somebody that Celtic have got on a list, or we would imagine
Yes.
they've got on a list. And I
Definitely.
think they had been tracking them for a while, so maybe it's somebody that sort of people from the recruitment team that are still around from the previous regime, maybe they'd flagged up before, somebody they think will fit Andrew's system. So yeah, no, it'd be interesting, Tony, definitely. So
And
one
he's
of the
younger.
comments is actually asking what age is
Yeah.
he? Do you know, Tony? I don't think I'd actually checked that.
I'm assuming, well, I think he's about 21, 22. Could be, because I think he was about 18 or 19 when he scored
Right,
that
okay,
goal.
so very much in the sort of Ange mould of players that he can sign and develop, etc.
Yeah. He's 22. Yeah, because
22, so
I got married 3 years ago, and
right, okay.
the table, which is 3 years ago this week actually, and the top table was called the Antoine Semenyo table. So there you go. That's I even presented him with a bottle of an engraved bottle of Jack Daniels for scoring the goal. It was his first ever league goal. So, and me being me, that wasn't enough. I took my wife down to Freezing Valley Parade on a November night, and we watched them play against Northampton. My wife was like, well, my wife to be was like, what are we doing here? What am I doing here? So, but yeah, we gave him an invite to the wedding, but he couldn't come because he was playing, sadly. But hey, there you go. I told him to get suspended, and he did look at me as if that's a good idea. So, I was killing myself laughing because he did think about it. But yeah, he's 22, and as I say, he's carved out a real good reputation at Newport, and he's since gone back to Bristol City because he was on loan to Newport from Bristol, and I think he's progressing very well. And again, what you say, I think he's a name that's been on Celtic's list for a while, and that interest is still there. So there may be something in that, Aidan, and he's the right age, as you say, for Ange to develop a player like that. And it remains to be seen whether Celtic will firm that up with an offer if certain things happen, that kind of domino effect, if Giakoumakis were to leave, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's obviously somebody that the club could potentially go in for if Giakoumakis was to move on. It is just to probably does bear repeating that obviously with Giakoumakis, we know that maybe technically he can sometimes struggle a wee bit, but it's just trying to replace his goals. I think could be a bit of an issue. You might get somebody in that can maybe build the play a bit better, maybe offer more to the rest of the team, but are you going to get somebody that can score whatever it was, 16 goals in 28, 29 games or whatever? So it's trying to get that, isn't it? But obviously Kyogo's there with his goal scoring attributes as well, but you don't want to just have... I don't think Celtic ever really want to be at the stage where you've got only one player going forward scoring all the goals. And I know you've got strikes coming from Jota, Maida even this season, Abada, etc. I know but in terms of just a striker, I would always much rather that it's probably shared like maybe 25 plus across maybe two players or that, rather than somebody on 30, 40, even more, etc. Because the worry is if they get injured, then what do? You're a bit of a loose end. So just need to wait and see. But yeah, Tony, your boy could potentially be coming in.
There's a comment. Gary McDowell says, since you have a tight connection with him, Tony, can you influence him? Leave it with me. Leave it with me if it becomes something more concrete, indeed.
Is a
Now,
big interview, Tony? I've ever seen one.
without a doubt, I have to, have to go back down and see him. I think, there you go. Jill Phil says, as long as the JT doesn't come back, I'll be happy. It's a bit harsh, Jill Phil, but there you go. Well, that's been half an hour. We've not even mentioned Aberdeen, and we will do in the coming days. We'll build up to that. But yeah, that's been enjoyable. It's I'm really looking forward to domestic football coming back. I've missed it. World Cup's been decent and fits and starts, but can it be a trip to Pataudry, Aidan? Can you to come back to?
Particularly this time of year, Tony. Do you know what I mean? Very refreshing the weather up there. But yeah, it's good. It's good that domestic football's on its way back. The World Cup has been good. Look, I've enjoyed it. Some of the football has been excellent. I think most people would probably say it's exceeded their expectations. We know obviously the controversy with Qatar. We've covered that. Plenty of people have much more eloquent than myself have covered that. So I wouldn't want to go into that too much. But the football on the pitch has been pretty good overall, I would say. And yeah, Messi, Juranovic, or even Morocco, who'd I want to win it, or France, I don't know, but I'm just glad England get put out, Tony. That's all.
Yes, indeed. Well, that's indeed. That put a smile on a lot of Scots people's faces on Saturday night, I tell you that, and many others too. But there you have it. Now, before we go, just flag up our deal that we've got going for you. You know, it is Merry Christmas deal, guys. Kind of festive deal. You sign up, hit the button, www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. You can get 25% off the yearly rate, which takes that down to £26. Or you can enjoy £1 for 2 months of full access to everything that's written on the website. And as Aidan and myself plugged it at the start, there's something there for everybody on the website. You'll enjoy it. And all you have to do is hit a button. You can enjoy a yearly subscription rate for £26, or £1 a month for 2 months of full access. www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe. It's a great deal. You know, it makes sense. Isn't that right, Aidan?
It does indeed, and it does probably just bear mentioning that obviously different things that we have within the subscription, tactics,
Yes.
features, big interviews,
Indeed.
match analysis, which will also be coming back, colour pieces on games and that, etc., which will be obviously back from like Aberdeen game onwards at the weekend. So, yeah, with domestic football coming back, it's going to be a busy time for Celtic. I think across December up until the Rangers game, it's 5 or 6 games, I think it is. So,
Yeah.
could very much be like another sort of season-defining point of Celtic to pick up maximum points in that time. So, yep, plenty happening. We've got you covered from all angles.
And you can get involved. www.celticway.co.uk/subscribe, guys. Thanks for your comments today, guys. Really enjoyed that. Appreciate it. Aidan, thanks for your contribution as well, bud. First class. And we
Cheers,
shall
Tony.
see you all tomorrow, 10 o'clock. Do it all again. 10-ish, round about then.
10:03.
Yeah, indeed. Have a good day, guys. All the best.
Cheers, guys.